A court case rewind, a look at the testimony at the Sean Diddy Combs racketeering and sex trafficking trial as former girlfriend Cassie Ventura took the stand, and what's to come this week. Joining us is ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmire. Brian, thank you for being here. So how well is the prosecution laying out its case? Ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, she gave some riveting and graphic testimony over 4 days, but did it move the needle in regards to the racketeering or sex trafficking charges against Combs?
So I'm sorry to be the attorney and say yes and no to that question. And the reason why I say that is I think Cassie Ventura, we've been calling her the star witness. In my mind, she is the star victim. Her testimony was impactful. She was completely credible. I don't think there's a single word or statement that she made that people thought, she's making it up. But the reason why I say no to this is right now the defense has done a very good job of positioning this argument of, yes, she was abused. No one is questioning that. But was it abuse because of a domestic violence relationship, or was it abuse for trafficking? I think the star witness in this case will be someone from Combs' inner circle, as they say, that says, no, this was not a toxic relationship. We knew we were trafficking her. Here are the conversations outside of Cassie's purview that she doesn't know about, but we did. I'm waiting for that witness, and I think that's when you know how strong this case is.
So that will definitely be something to watch. And you were also in the courtroom last week, and I wonder just how did the jury react to this testimony from Cassie Ventura and some of the evidence presented?
So Cassie is this very soft-spoken individual and very matter-of-fact when she talks about a lot of the allegations. But there were parts of the testimony that you can see jurors really had a reaction to. When she broke down and talked about the work that she had done for her own rehabilitation, she began to cry. Near the end of her testimony, she again cried again. And then, of course, when they saw 7 different stills of those freak-offs, as stoic as many of the jurors were, we saw deep gulps, kind of sitting back in their seat, eyes widening up. And so we saw some very visceral reactions to some of the evidence that got put into this case.
Cassie's husband was actually in the courtroom, but he left at one point during your testimony.
Yeah, so I'm sitting in court, and actually, Whit, I was closer to Cassie's husband than I am to you right now. Wow. And you can see like the back of his head. And I know a lot of the journalists and people are saying, well, he was so angry about the testimony. Yes, to some degree. You can see his face turning red. You can see his jaw tightening. Don't forget, this is not just Cassie's husband. This is the father of her 2 children and third on the way. You can see him staring at Combs at many times. But the reason why he ended up leaving is not because I think the testimony got so difficult for him, but the defense is anticipating to call him as a witness in the future. And so a potential witness cannot listen to the testimony of another witness on the stand out of fear of changing or altering their testimony based on what they heard. So he did have to step out, but I don't think he's mad about the part that he stepped out in, because it was about the allegations of rape and the consensual intercourse that Cassie had with Combs after that.
Just a quick follow-up on that. That's interesting, the dynamic, because we also saw some of Diddy's kids, children, leave the courtroom too, but it seems like this is a bit different because of the potential testimony, right?
Absolutely, and I think you got to remember the time frame here, right? So it's specifically Combs' daughters left, his twin daughters who were born in 2006. They were, at the time that they left, we were talking about allegations of Cassie having an intimate relationship with Combs shortly after their birth, at the time that their mother, Kim Porter, broke up with Combs. And of course, you're hearing these very grotesque allegations about your father. So I think it's a matter of, this is the time that my parents broke up. This is shortly after I was born, and I don't want to hear about my father in this light. I think it might have been a mixture of that. And the daughters never actually came back after leaving, I think, the second day of Cassie's testimony, and she stayed on for another 2 days.
This is all really important context that we can only get from someone inside the courtroom, Brian, so thank you. But what about the latest witness to testify, Dawn Richard? Her allegations were also contained in her civil lawsuit against Diddy, which he broadly denied. What kind of impact do you think her testimony is having?
So she was the last one to testify on Friday, and we expect her to start back up again on Monday, but she has a very limited role here. She's talking not about the allegations, as you pointed out, in her civil lawsuit as to what she claims Sean Combs did to her, but specifically about an allegation of the violence that Sean Combs put upon Cassie, where Cassie was making breakfast, it seems. Sean Combs got very mad, said, "Where's my eggs?" Came down, took the pan, and started swinging it at Cassie. The impact here is that this isn't just violence for the sake of freak-offs. This is violence for the sake of their relationship, and also the seriousness of this violence as well that Dawn Richard saw firsthand. Like I said, she's probably going to continue to testify on Monday.
Yeah, so many details in this case. Brian, thank you so much for bringing us that. And make sure to follow the ABC News podcast Bad Rap, the case against Diddy. It is hosted by Brian. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And I'm hearing that it's also #1. So congratulations to you on that.